So at its highest level, ahimsa is love in action. For these past 40 odd years, I have been first a journalist and then an author. And the focus of my work has really been on trying to document and understand a whole range of movements where people, activists, and ordinary citizens have been working for a more humane model of development and of society. So actually, my first introduction to the concept of violence was that we all identified the development process itself as being profoundly violent. Okay, because it creates benefits at one end at the cost of many people. At that time, climate change was not an issue, but now we know that it is the violence, the structural violence of the macroeconomic system and our models of technology that has brought us to this point where our species has never been before. Now, whether that technology becomes a platform for violence or non-violence, actually it is for both, but which one becomes dominant? And so my first focus is on trying to understand the structural element. What are the underlying forces that are driving, whether it is alienation or depression or a sense of lacking self-worth? So at one level, I seek to understand these. I'm no expert in it. But at the other level, in the individual life of somebody who is aware of and wants to move towards nonviolence, how are they doing that? I seek to document that, which is why I created a YouTube platform called Ahimsa Conversations. And this platform is basically a space for open conversations. It has no ideological agenda. So the first thing on which there is universal agreement is that ahimsa is not absence of violence. Because you can have absence of physical violence and yet there may be deep structural violence happening. The most, I think, consistent definition that emerged over the 108 conversations that I've hosted is that ahimsa is dialogue. It's the willingness to understand behind the anger and the hate, what is really bothering that other person? See, nobody can sustain hatred and anger for very long. It's physically depleting. You don't have gratitude after you're happy. You're happy if you have gratitude. You know, a lot of psychologists have done research on people in prison serving sentences, serial killers, and, you know, people who've done really, really horrible things to other people. And they're not finding a case where that person did not, the perpetrator, inevitably has something in their past which registered as a humiliation. And this is not an excuse, and that's why I really value what my friend Nisha Anand has said in that. She says, hurt people hurt people. Now, that's not an excuse, but she says, if I can just stay in the conversation, then I may find out what is it in that racist person's past. And can we open a conversation and see if we can somehow heal that? You pray not to change the course of things, but you pray to grow in love. So many of these efforts at deep listening, one has to do them because they are your dharma. Dharma means your duty, your effort to evolve to a higher level of consciousness. How much of our own sense of self is actively and creatively linked to larger realities? There is no hell for human beings except to be completely preoccupied with your own condition. We have one of perhaps the most important epic of the Indic tradition is the Ramayana. There is a moment where the hero, who is Lord Vishnu incarnate, must cross an ocean, a small strip of ocean, to get to the island, which is Lanka, which is believed to be today's Sri Lanka. All the animals of the jungle are assembling stones to build a bridge. So these two squirrels come and they say to Lord Rama, Oh, we also want to help. So he says, oh, but you're so small. What will you do? It's okay. Your wanting to do something is very precious. Next thing he sees, what are the squirrels doing? They are running into the water, wetting their furry little bodies. They're rolling on the sand and then coming to where the stone bridge is being built to shake off the sand, to smoothen the path. And what the story of the squirrel says is that every grain of contribution counts.